Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description as well. Check it out.
This video brought to you by our friends at wineaccess.com/hammer. You get 20% off.
Yep, 20% off. Wineaccess.com/ham. Use it today, people.
There was a report from NFL Network that the Patriots have had internal discussions about Julio. And then Michael Holley. Did Michael Holley write a Patriots book?
I own it, yeah.
I own it too. He said that Cam is a draw for Julio, that Julio wants to play with Cam Newton in New England. I saw the Athletic suggest you could do like N'Keal Harry and like a third for Julio. And then in the end, I love they do like all these trade options, and then in the end they're like, we would accept none of these offers.
The one someone DM'd me, he's like, I'm a Patriot fan. You know, we've done a good job drafting DBs and developing DBs. How about Gilmore, a team they're going to try to win? Yep. They need DBs. Gilmore for Julio. My thing is, and listen,
the Patriots
Michael
are trying to win too, and Gilmore's still good.
Yeah, to me, Michael Holley's clearly pretty locked in up there. My question is, his statement that I read was like he wants to play with Cam.
Yeah,
that to me, Julio, I think is famously kind of like, he's able to say this when you're Julio and you've accomplished a lot, but he's like Trevor Lawrence. Like, I don't watch football. Like, I'm not that. I like playing, but I'm not like a football junkie. And you're Julio. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. He's not that into it. You know, he shows up and he's fine.
So it looks like he's into it when he plays. So cool.
Yeah, and Trevor said it was like red flag, but so if he like does his camp, like maybe we just send you some cut ups. You watch a couple clips of Cam. I also saw in Roto World that Cam had gone to work with someone to try to get back to his fundamentals, even though he's never had great fundamentals. But to me, the issue with Cam watching him last year was like he'd always had a weird release. If his shoulder was messed up, and I remember people in the NFL, like when he was out there and anyone could have had him, but even before Bill signed him like last year for $500,000, the worry in league circles was not like, remember he had a bad foot and he had a bad shoulder. And people were like, yeah, we think the foot's going to be fine. And it was clear, like his foot, Cam can still move, right? Cam, he was pretty dynamic with his feet. They thought his shoulder made people very nervous. It was never going to be the same. I think it's fair to say if you watched him, you went, is it ever going to be the same? Now, Bill brought him back, right? I know Bill's a little desperate and didn't have that many options, but like, wouldn't he have just signed Fitzpatrick? Like, I have a hard time thinking if Cam's shoulder was screwed, they would know that and he would just move on. Like, they must think that like he'll be okay. He just might be an erratic guy, which he's always been. A couple SEC guys,
8 touchdowns, 10 picks last year.
I could see them just running in similar circles, maybe crossing paths, and just, pretty badass big motherfuckers liking each other.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he thinks the team's going to be good. Maybe he doesn't actually. Maybe he just wants to play with Cam, and he's not too worried about winning a championship. Maybe
Cam's recruiting him.
Maybe Cam's recruiting him. Maybe he believes in Cam. Maybe he just wants to try to. Maybe he's tired of listening to several weeks of, the Falcons are going to trade him. The Falcons are going to trade him. The Falcons are going to trade him, and he wants to get some of his rumors out there and maybe create a little bidding and have some control over the situation. I mean, he is under contract, but I also would imagine, you are going to want to know, is Julio going to try and hold out and get an extension before he comes here? And so Julio might have a little power here, a la Trent Williams, right? I
don't know how many Atlanta Falcons are in the Hall of Fame, but Calvin Johnson got in. And there's stats I have to. I mean, obviously he retired early. Calvin Johnson's a Hall of Famer. I don't know if he made it.
He's in a Super Bowl. He's in a certain Hall of Fame.
To me, Julio is. I know Dion's probably the most famous player ever, but really he left and became famous like the Niners and the Cowboys. I mean, I know he was famous on the Falcons, but is Julio the Falcons' most prominent player in our lifetimes? It feels like he is, and they're not exactly. I'm with you. Like, they're just, we're going to trade him. We're going to trade him. Like, is this really how you treat great players? And I know new administrations don't care, but if I was Arthur Blank, can we just quiet this talk? Remember how the Carolina Panthers did Cam? It's like, guys, to me, you treat your legends a little bit differently. Like, come on, guys. Let's just, if you're going to trade him, trade him. If you're not, stop fucking talking about it. If I was Julio, I'd be a little perturbed. Like, guys, I've given you everything. You're just going to talk about me like this?
Yeah, I think part of it, right, is that it has to be post June 1. And so it just kind of lingers for a while.
It's a little out of their control. Also, they've made calls, and you're not going to pull the trigger in like April, but it's the conversation has been going for a couple months. There's nothing else to talk about. But I could just, if I was in Julio's shoes, like when you're living it, you don't really you just be pissed off. Like, are we serious right now?
Yeah, I could see if you're him. By the way, the Falcons on their website have a slideshow of Falcons busts in the Hall of Fame. It's 8 total people. Bobby Beathard is one of them. Eric Dickerson, who spent 4 games as a Falcon in 1993, is one of the people in their slideshow. Chris Dolman, who I don't think spent much time, 2 years in Atlanta. Okay, that's better. It wasn't his last year in the league like it was with. So it's a pretty weak list. It's a pretty weak list for the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah.
Well, because Matt Ryan probably ain't going in, right? I'd say if his career ended today, yeah. Chris Dolman. Yeah, I mean, he spent the majority of his career with the Vikings.
Superstar pass. Yeah, I mean, Chris Dolman was a Niner for a little bit.
I'll give him credit for Dion, right? They drafted Dion. Remember that draft? It was like
they let him play for the Braves.
Wasn't it like Aikman? I forget the order, but Aikman, Barry Sanders, Dion. I just remember it being like the 4 of the 5 picks were like Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer. I think it was 89 NFL draft.
That was the Tony Mandridge draft because that guy was on the cover of SI.
Yeah.
Derek Thomas. Did you say
Derek Thomas? Yeah. 4 of the 5 top 5 Hall of Famers. Pretty good draft.
Yeah. And Steve Atwater went 20. But yeah, I mean, look, part of this has to be. I would imagine Julio's agent has a pretty good idea of, I know like somebody the other day, the Niners had the best odds to get him in some sports book. Is that based on intel or is that just based on what people would bet on? I would imagine, Niner fans, they'd be pretty active on that one. Just people have been following the Niners. Feels like Kyle Shanahan a fit.
There has to be some stuff you just don't know. Like the books had no clue Phil Mickelson was going to win the PGA. Like they might just not know.
Yeah, but that one's total chance, right? This one they would have an idea, maybe potentially. The agent would know who's interested, who's not. I wonder if like the Patriots are the best team among teams that are actually seriously interested. I don't know. Now, like you and I have talked about, wouldn't be shocked if the Rams are interested. Wouldn't be shocked if the Niners are interested. Wouldn't be shocked if the Seahawks are interested. Wouldn't be shocked if the Colts are interested. You would think there's some pretty interested teams.
Packers.
Yeah, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe there's just a variety of things that he doesn't like and goes, no, I think we can be good. I think Cam, while not MVP Cam, is going to be better than 8 touchdown, 10 interception Cam. And I could go play for New England. I mean, maybe he likes Saban, likes Belichick. We know he can play for that kind of guy, right? So
it'd be a big moment. Belichick gets rid of N'Keal Harry. He gets Julio Jones.
That'd be pretty crazy if Julio Jones.
Pretty good pivot.
Patriots.
It would be wild.
And here's the other thing. You're Julio Jones. You think, I can help. If you're him, you're like, of course Cam threw 8 touchdowns and 10 picks. Look who he was throwing to last year.
Yeah.
Now we got these tight ends. I'm there. Like, yeah.
What would be the sweeter Alabama connection? Tua to Waddle or Mac to Julio?
Mac to Julio.
I can't even imagine when you walk in Alabama's, like, where their sweet stuff is, their NFL players, the amount of just every kid is going to know 90. Sometimes you go into some of these facilities, you're like, what's that guy? He's like,
you got 3 offensive linemen went in the top 3 rounds in the last 6 years.
Yeah, we had between first and second team All Pros, we had 6 guys on offense
at all the same position. This is all receivers.
If Mac or Tua turns out to be a really good NFL quarterback, they're pretty set. I mean, they obviously already are. But
I'm just Alabama, you mean?
Yeah, having like a sweet quarterback to go along with all the other positions. I bet all these guys playing in Madden, like Derrick Henry's become a pretty big superstar, right? I mean, he's rushing for like $2,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like having a sweet running back is a pretty big, like just a guy a bell cow who just is sweet. As a video game player, you always wanted it. Like a running back was equally as important as a wide receiver.
There's no better combo though, as a guy that's big enough to run through people and fast enough to run away from people.
Yeah.
But as it relates to this, you're right. I mean, to me, that it's Michael Holley. It's not nothing.
Yeah. I think there's smoke there. And well, I guess there's fire there because there's smoke coming out.
If you're the Niners, would you want him to go there? As opposed to like having him on the Rams or the Seahawks?
To me, you do not mind him going to the Colts or the Patriots. You do not want him on Seattle, LA, or to be even Green Bay. You give Julio to Green Bay. I mean, you don't mind him going to Green Bay if they trade Rodgers, but they will not trade.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
You would do that for Aaron.
or unless you're just come out very spiteful. Wait till you see Jordan Love with Devontae and Julio.